Hi everyone! So I'm going to do my best to film as many of the prompts I can from the hashtag 12 Days of Yule by Ivy the Occultist, which I think is such a cool tag, so fun. I'm so excited to take part. I'm just gonna do my best if I don't manage to do them all, and I think that'll still be cool. I'm excited because these are gonna be like really chilled, vloggy style. I'm literally on my phone, so it's gonna be way easier to just start filming wherever I am and not have to worry about setting up the camera and lights and all of that. So it's gonna be like really chilled and really easy. So I'm starting from the top and I'm just gonna go into some traditions. So the first prompt is to share a winter tradition or ritual. And I have quite a lot throughout my life since I was a child. In my family, we had a lot of traditions for the solstice or, you know, Christmas. So we'd have a particular supper we had on Christmas Eve. We always had a traditional Christmas, and in England, you know, you have a turkey, as I think many people do on Thanksgiving in the States. So we had a lot of things that we always did, a lot of homemaking, baking. So my parents always made a Christmas pudding, Delia Christmas pudding. As you can see, there's like a Delia book in the back. So I'm getting some recipes from there this year. For a long time, I did my own mincemeat for mince pies, and it was like an apricot. I wanted to go really traditional this year, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Christmas cake, I used to do like a traditional one, but I also have a non-traditional one that I do that's my own recipe, and it's like a tropical flavored one, and that's what I'm going to do this year. So in terms of like Christmas traditions and stuff, I always will sit down with all my books, this one being one. Other is Nigella's Christmas, which my dog tore apart. So I picked up another copy last year after the dog tore it apart, but I still get this one out because it's my favourite. And then there is Jamie's Italian, which also got eaten by my dog, unfortunately. Like a lot of the books on the bottom just got completely eaten by our animals. So that's a shame. And I also think Squeaky, my cat, played a part in some of that before she passed. May she rest. I would get these out every year. So there's a lot of really good recipes in here, and I stand firmly by the fact that these cookery books, because I have been obsessed with cookery books and cooking since I was a child, because my dad and I always baked together. I always baked with my grandma. That's one of my recipes there. I always baked with my grandma. It was always a thing. My mum was a good cook as well. She would always make desserts and things for dinner parties when my family would have friends over. And so cooking was just a really big deal for me. And so some of the most magical books I have are my cookery books, and I absolutely adore them. And this is a book that I grew up with, right? So now the Delia book, and this is the winter collection. My hubby and I have just literally been to the National Trust with my kids, a local National Trust place, to see some Christmas decorations that my daughter did on some of the trees in the cathedral there, the chapel I should say. They have this beautiful secondhand bookshop, and so I picked this one up for £2 because my parents have this copy. You can see that this has probably been quite well used, I think. I actually don't think I've got a copy of this. So I have Delia's Complete Cookery Course, of course. If you don't know who Delia Smith is, she's like a British chef, home cook, kind of like Nigella Lawson, if you know who Nigella Lawson is, but she was like big when I was growing up. And so this is like the winter cookbook. And then over here, this is the Christmas cookbook, and there's a recipe in there for mincemeat that I'm going to be basing my mincemeat off of this year because I don't really fancy doing the apricot one. So that's like a really big thing for me. And this year, my mum picked me up this garden journal, and I literally started journaling in the back about what I want to cook. So the Delia Smith based mincemeat, so I'm putting days that I think I can make these. I've already made my cranberry sauce. I'm going to be making Jamie Oliver's recipe for the make ahead gravy. So I've got a Victorian inspired tropical Christmas cake that I'm going to make. That's my recipe. I have a pork stuffing that I'm going to do, which is Jamie's recipe again. We're going to have a Kelly bronze turkey that my hubby's ordered for us. I usually make a chocolate log or a bûche de Noël on Christmas Eve, or I was thinking maybe Christmas Eve brownies. In the past, I have made my own recipe for brownies, which I actually call witches brownies, and some people told me that they thought they were the best brownies they'd ever had. I haven't made those in a long time, but I did make them, and I did this whole snowy scene inspired by this Christmas Rocky Road scene that Nigella had done. So I got these little like brush trees and these little deers and made this like snow scene, and that was awesome. So yeah, and decorating the cakes has always been a big thing. So I'd make a cake, then I'd always decorate it with different icings and things. So there were so many different traditions that I had food-wise, and there's a number that I'm going to be doing this year, and I'm just using my Green Witches garden journal to prep because it's in the kitchen. I actually do have like so many food diaries and recipe books, but they've all been away, and when I was hunting for my recipe for the cake the other weekend, it took me hours to get them out. And then I also found this, which is actually like a recipe log book, and you can see I've like scribbled in it in like a couple of pages, but I haven't really recorded anything in here, so I can start using this. But I don't know, I just like the feel of this at the moment. I have so many recipe journals and recipe books with like, torn out bits of paper, like scraps of paper with recipes randomly on them, and all the way back from like my teens and my early 20s, you know. So it's always been like a big thing for me. So another Christmas tradition has always been evergreens around the house. And so this is faux up here, but we do have some real cedar that I picked up recently from the woods, but I wasn't able to carry as much as I wanted to, so there's not enough there. So I need to go back and get some more, and we did have some a few weeks ago. When I got this stuff, I replaced the old stuff, because what I tend to do every year is I will gather a load, and then I will deck the halls, literally, and I will put blessings on the evergreens, and I have them in the house throughout the whole year, and that is part of the house blessing, basically. So I don't get rid of mine in the new year. I know that that's the tradition or whatever, but my tradition like builds on that, really, because I like to keep them up, because I like the look of them. I feel that they make my house cozy and warm, and it makes me feel safe to have them in the house. So they go in the compost, or I will burn them sometimes as well. So I'm gonna go and get some more, because we're still, at the moment I'm filming this is like the first week of December. This is some hawthorn that I still have just for use, whatever I want to be able to do. I was gonna make some pentacle charms to hang for protection for the house with these. And then I also have some smoke bundles and just general bits and bobs that I kind of utilize sometimes. I have some candles here as well that I like to use on this, and this is like a dinner candle, but I also use it for magic, so there's a spell going even though it's like a dinner candle. That is just a really nice thing to have in the kitchen, I think. These are beeswax candles, so they're really beautifully made. They smell amazing, and it's a creator on Etsy, actually. Not too expensive, you know, they're quite affordable. I do prefer to get those kinds of candles. And I do have some other candles. I think this might be soy, and then these are beeswax as well. So this is the Yule Log, and I really liked this. So again, I haven't burnt it. In the old house, we used to burn the Yule Log because we used to have a wood burning fire, but here we don't have that. So I've changed the tradition up so that I can just keep this Yule Log. I really like this one. When I picked this up a couple of years ago, my husband drilled these holes in it. So what the tradition is I mean, I brought this candle here, and I've got a green one, and then like another purpley one that goes, where is the other one? I have another one. I would like to do red, white, and green to have, you know, all of the symbolism in there for the winter solstice. So the white tends to represent like protection and blessings, so that's perfect. The green, I feel like, represents like abundance and growth and fortitude and strength and courage, and then the red is like, again, like power, empowerment, more of that passion and vigor and energy, life force, etc. So you can use any colors you want though, and I think that these beautiful beeswax ones would fit in there as well. So I'm not entirely sure which ones I'm going to use, but I have an idea for how I'm going to spruce this up. The entranceway, I do have a faux garland up there, obviously horseshoe, and I've got some little things around. But so this is a wreath that I made recently, and it's hawthorn, and it's got a little bit there of rosehip, and it's also got blackberry brambles are the base. And then this is like an old wreath beneath, and I actually thought when I got it out for Christmas, I thought like how beautiful they look together, because it actually looks like a fuller wreath. Whereas mine, because it's the first time I made a wreath that was just like the brambles themselves and the sticks, it doesn't have the base like previous wreaths that I've made. Like, let me show you. So this here is an example of a wreath I made a couple of years ago, and it's really pale now, but you can see how wild and woolly it is, and I just love it because it's got that kind of wild, whimsical, witchy feel. It had a lot of foraged items and some dried flowers I picked up from a local shop, and I really loved it. But it has a base that I picked up from one of our local craft shops. So, but you can see the shape is obviously a lot nicer with that than with my handcrafted one with the hawthorn. Here is another example as well of a wreath that I made. So this has like faux poinsettias that I picked up from the garden centre, and then this beautiful fluffy grass, all these grasses, which do make you sneeze a little bit. I'll just show you briefly as well over here. I still have this one because I really liked it. I picked this up from Amazon like years ago and painted over it because I didn't like the way it looked, and I much prefer it. And then there's one there, We Are the Granddaughters of the Witches You Can Burn, which a friend of mine picked up for me. And also I have Lakshmi here because my boss gifted this to me because she's one of her patron deities. So she's here as sort of force for blessing, as it were, and by virtue of my boss's relationship with her. So I make offerings to Lakshmi, but I don't tend to petition her for anything. She's just there and I just honor her. And so then I've got like a little stocking holder here. I've got the elf on the shelf for the kids. I've got like a mushroom up there. That's a wreath for our family. And then we've got the Advent candle and little house. And then this is my little like death plate. Got some dead creatures on there that I like to just honor. Little Grinch candle, which smells amazing. A lovely toadstool. So it's just really festive and cute. So what I was thinking was, obviously this would be like on the table. Got a really nice tablecloth that's got this red embroidery on it, and then these red napkins. And I thought we could have the candle holders. And then I thought this could like go in the middle, and this could go around, and then potentially I could utilize some more of these hawthorn. In Irish folklore, there is a saying that says you should not bring hawthorn blossoms into the house. And for years, I was not wanting to bring hawthorn into my house for that reason. However, I personally believe, because I was wanting to make medicine out of the berries and also wanting to utilize them within spellwork, that after connecting to the tree, I very much got the go-ahead to bring hawthorn into the house. But I have not brought blossoms into the house. I've brought berries and brambles into the house. So I think that's the difference. So they are highly protective. They're like fiercely protective. And then also like bringing in blessings and abundance and things like that. So that looks awful the way it is. But my idea was to try and make it look a little bit more festive like this. But also I think I really do need to get a bit more of this kind of foliage. But maybe I could work with what I've got and set this up. Let's see what I can do. So here's what I've got, and what I've done is I've got a couple of intentions that I want to bring into fruition for our family and for the world. And so the final one here, and this is on paper that is from a little notebook that has seeded paper, so it's biodegradable and everything. So I'm just folding this towards me, blow on it. I'm just going to imbue my attention into this, imbue all my energy for this. And this means a lot to me with everything that's happening in the world right now. So sending peace and love and safety and warmth to all those people in need at the moment. And so obviously fire safety, you want to make sure that you are with this when you're burning it. Another thing you can do, if you wish, you can anoint your candles with some kind of oil. You know, a beautiful oil might be a blend with some cinnamon oil and some orange. And I actually think that I might do that at a later date. For now, I'm going to light these. So in terms of an oil, you could craft an oil using some spruce, cedar for essential oils, as well as some cinnamon, ginger, star anise, cardamom, orange, and utilize essential oils if you can find them. And also you can utilize the actual herbs and the spices to create the oil. Just be aware that cinnamon can really irritate the skin, so just be really mindful of that. Also, fire safety is everything. Make sure you've got some water nearby and you watch it at all times. Keep spruce and fir away from the actual candle. So it might look closer than it is to the flame, but honestly, keep them at a distance from the flame themselves. I have here the mincemeat, which is now all finished. This is homemade mincemeat, not made with actual meat. This is, I think, a British tradition, but we make mince pies, and I've always made them from scratch since I was little with my parents, and so I need to make the pastry next, and my favourite is a short crust, so I will be using this mincemeat for that. But I've added the brandy today after it's been cooled, and essentially we have a tradition that I've always done since I was small with my parents and my family, where we stir it clockwise and make a wish. So I've just asked the children to do theirs. It was traditionally called Stir Up Sunday, and it was supposed to be the final Sunday ahead of the Festival of Advent. My hubby made a wish and I'm about to make mine, so I'm really excited to do that. If you're unfamiliar with what mincemeat is, it's got raisins and sultanas and dried mixed fruit, and some recipes call for candied peel as well, and it's got brownlee apples in it, so cooking apples, and normally there's like lard included, but this has like just some vegetable shortening instead. Then lots and lots of brandy, orange and lemon zest and juice, some almonds, and it's just absolutely delicious. It's got lots of lovely warming spices like cinnamon and clove and nutmeg nutmeg and ginger and all the deliciousness. And then over here I have some things I've made recently. So I think most of you will have seen my mugwort oil. This is a blackberry tincture that I made in September, and it's kind of for cough, cold, flu season. And then I also have an elderberry syrup as well that is going to be doing the same thing, really, double duty. And I'm still going to make another fireside this year as well. I also have our Advent candle going. That about wraps up the video sharing some of my most special and I guess nostalgic rituals that mean so much to me at this time of year. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for joining me and sticking around this long. If you have, please leave a little Christmas emoji, maybe Mrs. Claus, please. I hope you have a beautiful Yuletide season and winter solstice, and take some time for yourself, you know, and really allow yourself to sink into the stillness and the quietness and the darkness of that solstice time with the sun standing still, and really lean into that. If you have enjoyed the video, please do click the like button, share it with anyone who you think would also enjoy. Also, please do subscribe. You can support me on Patreon or with the super thanks, or you can also buy me a coffee below. And just being here, liking, subscribing, sharing is incredible. I'm so grateful for returning subscribers. So thank you so much. Thank you to Ivy again for this fantastic tag. I'm late in uploading this one because I've been really unwell for most of December. So I don't think I'll be finishing the challenge, but I am so thrilled with watching everyone's responses. I'm sending you all so much love and lots of blessings and wonderful wishes for the new year. And one last ritual, the mistletoe. And in folklore, mistletoe was hung to protect from bad energies, demonic spirits, etc., anything that had a malevolent kind of presence. It was also used to communicate with spirits as well, but the way that I like to use it is simply just being beneath it and letting my hubby kiss me. Thank you again for watching. So many blessings.